Hello again and thanks for joining. So I don't normally do American stuff on this channel, although I do have a few in my collection. This is one of them. It's a Walthers model that I got second hand. It's number 932-7019. It's a Thrall All Door boxcar. Now I believe this came out in the year 2002, but it still looks really good to this day. We're going to have a closer look at it today. So if we start off looking at this end of the wagon, you can see where the detail starts. It's really quite impressive, the amount of little bits and pieces on this wagon. First thing you'll notice is the HTX logo up here and the numbers printed down here. So the yellow is really contrasting very nicely with the black. It has additional extra pieces put on, like these ladders here and this brake wheel. And I really like the checker plate on the little foot plate here. You can see that it's got a lot of deep relief here. It goes in quite a long distance into here, and the bracing is very nicely molded there in the center. As we start to look down the side of this wagon, what really catches you straight away is all the printing in the bright yellow here on the black, and it's been done very nicely. You can see that there is some issues here, for example, where it doesn't quite go over this ridge, and there's a little black line there where it's broken, but it's not too bad at all. And what is really good is they managed to get this yellow really bright on the black background. Lots of printing here of different numbers and different logos, like the HTA CX here in the 400. You can see that the CX also suffers with this little bit of a problem just right on the corner there where it's gone over the little ridge. But what's causing that is the real deep relief on this molding here, and there's so much detail added on. You can see all the rivets here and these cross bracings, and these parts coming down are actually additional parts that have been added on as well, as are these steps at the end here. In the middle of the wagon, there's a whole host of additional printed material here, different numbers and warning symbols. But what's good, I think, is the detail just down at the bottom here. It's been very accurately modelled here, and it really looks as though these doors would open. They don't actually on this model, but you really wouldn't believe it. Even down to the little brackets here, it's very nice that they've added those into the moulding. And then as we get to the other end of the wagon, you can see the Seaboard Coast Line and even more printed numbers and logos down here. This end of the wagon is the same as the other end. However, it doesn't have the brake wheel, which is quite an obvious thing. The roof moulding as well is very nice. It has these ridges going over as if it's bracing. You can see that it does have a little bit of a moulding mark here. There's also another one in the middle, and then another one further down, but they're not that intrusive, and you wouldn't notice them unless you were really looking very closely. Down below you can see a typical knuckle coupling here. It's held in this pocket here with a little screw, so you can change that if you want to. Also held on with screws are the bogies. You can see a screw there in the middle. These are fairly simple bogie designs, but they're quite convincing with enough relief on the springs there. And the wheels are made of plastic, but they have metal axles, so they revolve quite freely. This model is actually held together with screws as well. That's quite unusual. Normally models like this are held together just with plastic clips, but it's good that this one is screwed together. And then as we look further down, you can see this quite hefty middle bracing, which I guess is prototypical, and the relief on this is actually very nicely done. There's not a lot of detail on it. I guess that again, that's prototypical, but it's good that they've managed to get a line of rivet detail just right there on the corner part. There's an indication of brake gear with these tanks here, but there's no rods or piping on these, so it does give an opportunity to add extra detail if you want to. But the underside overall really looks quite convincing, and again, it's got all these ridges on it as well and bracing, so it really looks quite impressive. So let's see how much this wagon weighs. So this weighs 138 grams. Walthers have done a really good job of this Thrall boxcar. It's got so much detail on it and is complemented by a real nice selection of graphics which have been added on as well. Some of the things I like about this wagon, that the main moulding is actually really good. It's got a lot of detail on it, even down to all the rivets, and it's got additional parts added in as well. It really looks like quite a complicated wagon, but I think Walthers have done a real good job of representing it here. For the most part, the printing on this is really good. It has a few minor issues on it, but the fact that they've managed to get white and yellow onto this black and still make it really clear and bright is really quite impressive. There's also a good weight to this wagon as well. It'll certainly stay on the track, and I don't think it'll be suffering any wobble or anything like that. The downside to this wagon is that it is moulded in black. I guess that's prototypical, and even with the printing in yellow and white, it still makes this a little bit of a dull wagon. That said, a little bit of weathering could improve things, although it is quite difficult to weather black stuff. I know that from the past, having tried myself. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but I know that Walthers do this model in different liveries, so perhaps a different colour of this would be quite good to add to your collection. And this one as well, it'd make for an interesting train, and it would certainly look better than bog standard box cars on your layout. Let me know what you thought about my analysis of this wagon in the comments below, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel, and you can subscribe for more videos like this. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around, but that's it for today.